Monday, November 24th could go down in the history books as being one of the biggest days for spot XRP trading. Grayscale and Franklin Templeton are joining forces to come into the spot market. What is this going to mean for your XRP holdings? Are we already starting to see big moves behind the scenes in the futures market? Let me put all of this information together so you are fully prepared. I did want to wish my dad a happy birthday today. He is the reason I'm on this planet, but he's also the reason I am in crypto and in XRP. He recently had some health troubles, and I just want to say happy birthday, Dad. I love you. I wanted to say, guys, if you wanted to support him, if you want to leave a like or a comment in this video, I will show him this. And I would just really appreciate any good vibes and love you can send his way. That would mean the world to me. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, let's get into the news here. Monday XRP ETF acquisition projection. So these are the projections for tomorrow. Canary swooping up 5 million XRP, Bitwise 5 million XRP, Grayscale 24 million XRP, and Franklin Templeton 15 million XRP. We could see 50 million XRP gone tomorrow. What? That would be pretty crazy. And so here is, I know the dates are a little confusing because we did see Franklin Templeton launch on SIBO on the 18th, and people are like, well, what's on the 24th? So let me explain that to you so you understand. And I had to even flag Perplexity here because Perplexity got it wrong. Good thing I am paying attention. So it gave you some information, and I was like, that's not right. You're right to flag that. Thanks for fixing it. Here is the information correctly. Franklin XRP ETF, Easy XRP from Franklin Templeton launched and began trading on SIBO BZX on Tuesday, November 18th. Separately, the New York Stock Exchange ACRA has approved both Franklin Templeton Easy XRP and Grayscale's GXRP Spot XRP ETF, with trading for both expected being on Monday, November 24th. So SIBO is a much smaller exchange, more rated in the billions. And then, of course, the New York Stock Exchange is roughly around 30 trillion. So it's a big difference in how many people have access to this market. And I think we are going to see some pretty big days leading up to, of course, Thanksgiving. I do believe markets will be closed Thanksgiving because remember, we're not on these crypto 24/7, 365 tradings. These are going to be stock markets. And so they will be closed on the holiday. What is that going to look like for Thanksgiving and Black Friday? I don't know, but I will, of course, keep you updated through the week. I'm not going on vacation. I'm going to be here updating you guys because that is what is most important in my life. I want to stay up to date. And so I'm going to keep you up to date. And so, looking at these amounts stem from the anticipated daily inflows of the new XRP spot ETFs, which are recently launched by these asset managers. For context, Canary Capital's XRP ETF has a record-breaking debut earlier this month, trading at almost $59 million on launch day and about 25 million XRP at $2.36. XRP right now is roughly like $2.09. Yes, I just bought a little more today and I bought some under $2. Yes, it's like free money. No, I'm just kidding. But I did really buy some XRP last few days because, man, got to keep adding to my bags. I keep like reaching my goals and then I set a new goal, right? Yeah. All right. And then in the past, I wanted to better understand, has Franklin Templeton launched any other crypto ETFs? In the past, what kind of volumes did those ETFs had? Here's a little bit of information when I asked that. Franklin Templeton only launched crypto spot ETFs to date. Ticker EZBC, like Easy Bitcoin. Spot Bitcoin launched in January 11, 2024. No previously launched Franklin Templeton spot ETFs or other crypto assets. So it looks like they only wanted to be in Bitcoin. And so it's really cool to see them here getting into the XRP space. And I'm sure there'll be other assets along the way. And then using typical launch day prices to low to mids $20 per share, that implies roughly tens of millions of dollars in first day trading volume. Maybe $40 to $60 million is what maybe is projected here. This is kind of what we saw for Bitcoin. And so maybe we will see something like that for XRP. And who knows? All right, here is Stephen McClurg talking about prices going up. Let's just jump right into it.
So when people talk about, what drives price, it's really a function of two things. Bitcoin's the easiest to explain because the function is, okay, what is its relationship to the dollar? And if more dollars are being printed versus a fixed supply of Bitcoin, then obviously Bitcoin goes up in price. The other major factor that's been a greater factor in the early years and less of a factor now, but still a strong factor, is access to the ecosystem. So as more and more people are onboarded into having Bitcoin wallets and to use them, whether it's for savings or spending, that network effect actually causes the price to grow because more people are involved in that. It's no different than looking at, say, the Swiss franc versus the US dollar. Singapore dollar, or whatever it is, has a smaller set of users, so it's not going to be quite as valuable. So as more and more people own wallets, own Bitcoin, are onboarded, it'll have a massive effect. And over time, that effect goes down because the law of large numbers kicks in and smaller percentage of people continue to be onboarded.
See, I think this is a really interesting thing that people aren't paying attention to. Right now, there's maybe, 55 million people roughly own Bitcoin. Maybe it's a little bit more at this point. Maybe it's a little bit less with the recent sells, but that is going to grow to 100 million, 200 million, maybe even 500 million people in the next 5 to 10 years. Think about XRP and HBAR and XLM and all of the favorite tokens. If the technology makes it over the next 5 to 10 years, there's going to be tens of millions, hopefully hundreds of millions of more people in the crypto market. That means they're going to be more popular. There's going to be less available to supply. This is why I am playing the long game here, because we don't even have the regulation yet in the United States for all of these companies to start participating. Once the companies start participating, they're going to be offering different crypto services to their customers. And that's really how you onboard the rest of the people. Imagine you waking up one day and you got an update on your iPhone or your Android, and all of a sudden you have a crypto wallet where anybody in the world can send you Bitcoin or XRP or stablecoin. That is the big shift moment that is coming, believe it or not. If you don't think the Apples and the Androids of the world are already working on this technology, you're sadly mistaken. Now mix every other company that you go, right? Walmart, Target, right? Any other big box store that you shop from every single day, they're going to have their own crypto strategies. Your banks and financial institutions and your credit unions will all have something similar. Your corporations, right? Every small mom and pop business is going to try to figure out how they can participate in this new economy. And we have been here all along. That is the exciting part. All right. Franklin Templeton is a massive $1.5 trillion assets under manager, but there's also a more conservative side. Expect decent opening numbers, but know that they will build a base and begin having advisors push the fund. So once it launches, all of the advisors that work for Franklin Templeton will start saying, hey, we have this new product. It's around XRP, and XRP has this, and this. And so more and more people are going to start learning about XRP. More viewers. Yes. No, I'm saying that more people are going to start wanting to get more information and learn and grow, just as you took those steps as well, right? And so if we can have more people in the space, it's only going to get more exciting. And as well as we are seeing some crazy things happening in the futures markets. I just did a complete video on this. So if you want to have more information, let me just try to catch you up in 2 minutes on what's happening here. So we saw this explosion of 2,668% on XRP futures on BitMEX, up 600% in 24 hours. We also saw a bunch of moves across other futures market. And so a sudden explosion in the futures market activity for a digital asset like XRP usually indicates a massive influx of trader interest, rising speculation, and potentially the anticipation of a major catalyst or news event. So you're getting this information on Sunday. All of this is about to take place on Monday. The catalyst, the news and event is, of course, Grayscale and, of course, Franklin Templeton hitting the New York Stock Exchange. That is going to be a very big thing. There's going to be a lot of news and publicity and press behind it. If you don't think a 1.6 trillion asset management is not going to promote this a little bit, I think we need to come to a realization that this could be a big day for XRP and all of its holders. What is it going to do? That is the exciting part. We don't know, but we are going to be along for the ride together. And I can't wait to go through this with you guys. This is evidenced by recent surge in XRP futures volume on BitMEX, which spiked. And then also, I asked, is XRP going to full send? But here is some other notable information that you have to know. Kraken's 24-hour XRP futures and derivatives volume spiked frequently, reached over 58 to 61 million recently. Binance reported derivatives volume surged for XRP up to 6 billion. Hyperliquid has some movement here too, but nothing notable. I don't want to read that to you. OKX and Bybit also saw XRP funding rates and open interest spikes, suggesting bullish leverage positions were popular among traders. People are going long on XRP with all the positive news. Remember, there's more ETFs coming after Franklin Templeton and Grayscale. That'll just be 4. We're supposed to have 7, 8, or 9 before the end of the month. This could get really exciting. You also saw LBank, DYDX, and Crypto.com have significant XRP and XRP USD trading volumes with notable 24-hour changes reflecting sustained activity and volatility. Coinbase reported sharp changes in spot and futures related flows, signaling interest in XRP futures. Dun, dun, dun. It's coming. Yeah. All right. And then this is something I really wanted to know. Who are Franklin Templeton's customers? How big are they? Do they have any interest in crypto? Because I don't know, my mind works like that. I want to know. Here are some of the Franklin Templeton's biggest customers. And I haven't heard some of these companies. Maybe you have. Let's just take a look here. Digital Bridge, a global leader in digital infrastructure, investing with approximately 106 billion in assets under management at Franklin Templeton. Okay. Copenhagen Infrastructure Partners, also known as CIP, one of the world's largest dedicated fund managers in greenfield energy investments, 50 billion under assets under management. Actis, a global private equity and infrastructure investment firm, 16 billion. General Atlantic, 114 billion. Lexington Partners acquired Franklin Templeton in 2022. Lexington is one of the world's largest managers of secondary private equity co-investment with over 55 billion in aggregate commitments to more than 1,000 institutional investors. Ooh, that's spicy. Benefit Street Partners and Alcentra, both are major alternative credit managers acquired by Franklin Templeton, specialize in direct lending and private credit strategies. 40 billion, Benefit Street Partners, 40 billion, and 30 billion in European alternative credit. And there's also pension funds, endowments and foundations, universities, charitable foundations, and nonprofits, insurance companies. Major issuers invest through Franklin Templeton for mixed income, sovereign wealth funds, private equity. I mean, there is some serious money about to be entering the space. I also wanted to get a list of like their top 30, 50, or 100 institutional clients. Some of this stuff will be kind of the same, but some of this is different. Global pensions. So here's some of the biggest pensions that Franklin Templeton has. Ontario Teachers. So big shout out to everybody in Canada there. Sovereign wealth funds. Norway's NBIM, Abu Dhabi Investment. Singapore's GIC. We know Ripple's really big in the Middle East. Be interesting to see what happens there. Large insurance companies, Prudential, MetLife, Allianz, New York Life. And then you got some Ivy League university endowments, healthcare trust systems, large US European foundations. I mean, there is some pretty crazy stuff about to happen here. And we're going to be along for the ride. You start to wonder when someone like the BlackRocks and Vanguards will get into this as well. Exciting times, ladies and gentlemen, exciting times. And then Chad Steingraber did post this kind of showing, how XRP becomes a Wall Street legend. There is a lot of people interested here in XRP. And you know what? I'll play a little bit of this.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all doing well. Just on a little walk, getting those steps in, doing crypto videos. We have a total of $2.89 trillion in total market cap today. ETFs though, at market open on the 21st, which was Friday, $294 million. So that has been the first bit of inflows right here into ETFs, which is interesting to see. The biggest news to come out over the weekend, of course, is the Franklin Templeton XRP spot ETF, which is huge because Franklin Templeton has around about $1.3 trillion of assets under management, which is very significant. Also, shout out to Chad right here putting out the facts. Canary to acquire 5 million XRP on Monday. Bitwise 5 million on Monday.
These are estimates, not guarantees.
Grayscale 25 million on Monday. Franklin Templeton 15 million XRP on Monday. That is a total of 50 million XRP on Monday because these four funds are live to acquire spot XRP on Monday.
All right, it should be really interesting, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Man, it's awesome to be a part of this, to have the information, to participate, to always be learning, to always be growing. This is a special moment. Where are we going to be in a year or 3 years or 5 years from now? Have you stopped to think about that? Right? This is the biggest transformation in our financial system in 50 years, 100 years. And we've never had retail ever had the opportunity to own a part of the new financial system. That is the opportunity that is presented in front of us today. Getting the information to making sure that we capitalize on that is the most important thing that you can do. Spend an extra 15, 30 minutes a day learning this stuff. I guarantee you that over the next few years, This could dramatically help your health, your personal life, your family's well-being. You know, I'm here for generational wealth. I hope you are too, guys. All right, have a good week. Peace.